Hello and welcome to another exciting episode of Token Games Podcast. I'm your host and sometimes referee, Zach Stat Pearson, and today I'm joined by the Wakandan ambassador to the United States military, O1 Michael Dat Hill.
Always gotta give the opinion for the thing we care most. Game.
Okay, not sure what he said, but I'm going to go ahead and get into those topics. Our first topic, a case for false advertising. As of 2008 to now, it's become increasingly popular for compilation or bundles of games to be sold physically, only to find out a download will install the rest of the games onto the disk or hard drive of the system. Is this something that can be viewed as a form of false advertising, or is it an excusable case of misleading a consumer? Why or why not, of course. Topic 2. Mankind has completed the cycle of playing God. We started with food modification, gene manipulation, and now we have successfully made a new 100% artificially made life. What new laws based on the living robots we have made do you think will need to happen to prevent any form of misuse? And for those who aren't sure what I'm talking about, or they just think, oh, we're pulling shit out of our ass for attention, first off, fuck you on both counts. But a link will be provided in the comments section or the description box. Sorry. Topic 3. The PlayStation 5 user interface leak. Do you think it's true? Topic 4. The new Final Fantasy VII Remake trailer. What do you think you can figure out story-wise, or do you just want to talk about how pretty it looks? Topic 5. GDC 2020 released a poll by developers stating that the PlayStation 5 seems to be the system most interested for development to work on or with. Do you think this means that Sony may get the bulk of the next generation games, or is it just because the dev kits are already released so they have gained more natural interest? Topic 6. We have now created living organisms synthetically. Oh, sorry. I accidentally made the same topic twice, but yeah. So yeah, there's 5 topics. All right, Hill, you go ahead and get into them whilst I, do my little corrections for grammatical sake and blah, blah, blah.
Alright, so topic 1, I was very misled when my friend told me about when he bought Fallout 4, and I'm like, oh, okay, cool. And then it's just like, actually, this disc is just for you to be able to download it without Steam and stuff, so I don't feel like it's more false advertising. I feel like if you look into it, it's just misleading, because we are in the times where games are fully 200% on the, excuse me, brain fart on that, where games are like just 100% on the disc, and all you need is like an 8 megabyte memory card, like in the PS4 days, because like everything from even my hard copy games to my downloadable games is still going to take up the chunk of time. So I just feel like it's more misleading to say that your game is here. It's more so the ability to move your game is here, but you're still going to have to go for this 12 gigabyte update. So our new fascination of playing with powers that should not be touched, synthetic cells that we've got from frog embryos that went from skin cells to now being able to transport medicine through our entire body. Now, as it stands, we like to believe in the law of robots shall not kill, they shall not hurt humans, they shall not disobey their prime directive. However, from Terminator, Mega Man, and any other form of robotic life that has been made, something has and will go wrong. They will find things to obscure their way of life, like what happened with Ultron, when Ant-Man made that. It's like, he's gonna help humanity, but he was fucked up in the head, so he's like, the only way to help humanity is to destroy humanity. Whatever happened with Terminator, I don't remember that. RoboCop made just horrible fucking robots robots that had to have another robot kill it to cover up their mess. Hell, Yu-Gi-Oh! 5Ds had their own thing where it's like the more they do it, the more greed they pushed out, and the machine had to keep up with the human's greed, so they end up killing them. So it's just really based off of the Prime Directive, and then will people try to change machines to make it even better Prime Directive, which then the computer will override itself, saying, I'm going to do this now. It's still within the laws of what you've given me, but I'm going to do it my way, and that my way may
You cut off for a second. Say that last part again.
I'm going to do it the way you told me, but I'm going to do it my way. Now, whether or not my way saves or destroys humanity is not up to me. I'm following Prime Direct. PS5 user interface league. I don't believe it. Through the whole funny meme of dropping the 4 and adding a 5 to the PlayStation logo was hilarious. But I don't know. And to be determined, because they were all sold on what Xbox was doing, and then they made a mini refrigerator. So now I wait to see what Sony has in store, because I want the full confirmation, because I'm not about to be swept up in a bunch of publicity and lies about stuff. And started getting pulled into that. So I was like, I'm just going to wait for confirmation. The new Final Fantasy, I don't know. It's cool to see how they designed the cloud and stuff, and as we wait patiently for maybe the Crumb demo from Square. Please, Square, I just want a smidgen demo. Just something to hold me over till you decide to give me the whole 40-hour experience that is Final Fantasy VII.
Come on, man. You can't just play with the tip. You gotta get the whole shaft, Square Enix. Why you gotta do me like that?
So, it's nice to see how everything's turning out, but I am very excited for the final product, and everything just looks so better than what the polygons were like 15 years ago or so.
Shit, I think the game's older than that. You gonna do topic 5, bro?
Kind of rereading it, trying to...
Oh, yeah, GDC, because now that I think about it, some people, not even just you, might not know what GDC are, but for those listening, the two of you, GDC stands for Game Development or Game Developers Conference. It's not a traditional convention for video games. It's really meant for people who log publications and journalism that's based specifically in the creation of game assets and game related assets, not so much the celebration of them like something like a E3 or a PAX East, a PAX West, blah, blah, blah. So yeah, that's just to clarify.
I feel like Sony is just trying to get the jump on the next gen shit, because Xbox is only just putting out, hey look, it's Halo again. Hey look, it's Skyrim again. Hey look, Gears of War again. And so I feel like Sony might not have a bulk of it, but they're trying. They're really trying to get the new out. And maybe they continue their trend of putting out a new Infamous game per console like they usually do. I'd be very happy if they did. PS3 gave us Infamous, and Infamous 2. PS4 gave us Second Son, and then let's get Second Son 2. Or Infamous 3. And I do consider that, since Sony seems to be getting its information air quote leaked and shown. They're just jumping on what is seen and just taking up everything they can.
Are you in a car?
Yo. Why?
Because I can hear "You Can Ring My Bell" by Patti LaBelle, I think.
My roommate's watching Good Place. Played the song.
Gotcha.
Yeah, because Sony seems to be putting out more information about the Xbox PS5 over the, I don't even know what the new Xbox is called anymore, Series X.
Yeah, Series X. Xbox Series X. So basically, technically, the system's name is Xbox, but the type of Xbox is called the Series X, which I have no idea why the fuck they did that. That literally means that people can call this system sex for short. The sex box.
They for sure know what they did. Imagine if it was saying it's like, since Sony's information is more out in the open right now, they're just gonna take what they can and move it out before anybody else gets to jump.
Okay, that's it.
Yes, sir.
All right. Now it's my turn. Okay, so, well, for the first one, I wanna word this a very specific way. So let me think about this real quick. You have no idea how long shit like this has been circling in my head. I think the one time we talked about this was so early that you weren't even in the podcast yet. So this was like not even year one, more like first 3 months we talked about this. But okay. I think that a disclaimer needs to be on the box and the CD and the retailer. They need to mention at some point in time, hey, if you buy this game, it's not going to have what you're looking for on it. It's going to give you the ability to download everything else that goes to it that's been advertised. And if the game is new or used, or in a used version can't get that shit downloaded to it, there should be some level of notification, because at that point, it's not the consumer's fault. Remember, when Guitar Hero was everywhere, and I mean everywhere, one of the first things they would tell people is that, hey, look, this game can be played with a controller, but it's meant to be played with a special peripheral. We have that peripheral. Or, hey, this is a used game. This is meant to be played with a special peripheral. We don't have that peripheral, though. But you're telling me if I buy Resident Evil 5 on not the PlayStation, the 360, and it's the deluxe, got everything in it that was supposed to be in it at launch version, you're sitting here fucking telling me that literally, oh, yeah, here's a code that lets you download it. So what happens when someone else buys it? Did it install to the disc, or did it install to the system of the person who made the initial purchase? And that's what bothers me. Because that means that it both is and is not false advertisement, which means that that shit can be left up to judges' discretion. Here's the problem with judges' discretion. I don't hate judges. I inherently don't. Are some of them racist or biased? Yes, they're humans just like the fucking rest of us. But they're supposed to be held to a higher standard. However, this is a situation where the judicial system, the people of the judicial system, not the judicial system, has limited information about what they're dealing with. Because of something like that, we're running into issues like we are now, where game developers are telling blatant lies to countries and national organizations whose job it is to detect if someone's full of shit. This is not a good look for anybody. And I don't even think that developers did this on purpose. I think that they think that they're okay or that they're shielded, because whoever did it first didn't get in trouble, and no one's gotten in trouble since then. Some developers may even plan on letting people know in a trailer or something, hey, this is not meant to be played alone. You need to make sure you have an internet connection. You need to be able to download this shit. And then, 50-50 if you can get this with or without it being a new or used copy. I've seen no confirmation at all if the new version of Street Fighter V Champion Edition, because they haven't had a billion of those yet, is going to have all of the new characters that they released since Street Fighter V came out in all of the stages. I've seen literally nothing. So let me ask you something. If I go to a store and I'm a parent or I'm just someone who doesn't follow Street Fighter and I'm buying this as a gift, do you think that whoever I bought this from is going to inherently tell me that? Do you think if I go to Target or Walmart and I just tell the game clerk, hey, I want to get this from behind your case, he's going to tell me, oh, hey, just so you know, you need internet to get the shit that's supposed to be on here? No. And it's not really their fault either. Walmart can't pass out information about a product if the person who released the product didn't tell them. So I think it's not false advertisement, but it is misleading of your consumer. Which kind of a Capcom specialty at this point. Holy shit. Or at least consumer manipulation. However you want to look at it. I know we rag on Capcom a lot, but I don't rag at them from a place of negativity. I rag at them on a place of statistics mixed with critiquing. Hey, Capcom, you did this thing that was bad. Hey, Capcom, you did not fix this thing that was bad or address it. You just said, fuck it, move on. For example. Topic 2. Okay, look. We need to get new laws and regulations on this shit as quickly as possible. We're making synthetic life, artificial life, living robots. The realm of science fiction has always worked in 2 formats. Did somebody think it up? And does the popular consciousness know of the concept? And part 2 being, has someone made it and has it become commercially available? Almost every single invention of mankind that has ended up in a work of science fiction cinematography is being worked on or has happened, whether the person who made the science fiction material knew about it or not. Teleportation, anti-gravitic technology, hoverboards, although they didn't get very far, and now artificial life, synthetic life, however you want to look at it. It's something that's alive but is also born of a machine. It's not sentient, but it is alive. Or rather, it doesn't know it's sentient, therefore it can take computer programmable commands. What happens if this thing gets a virus? And here's the thing. What kind of virus? A computer program virus? Or an organic virus, the likes of which we've never seen because it's a new existence. And it didn't know it could be infected the way it did. I have never been one of the people that believe the machines will rise up and take us over. Because first off, that implies we built enough to fuck up 7 billion people who have access to bombs and armaments enough to wipe out the entire face of humanity with or without nuclear excursion. The planet will still be here, but hey, we can kill each other. I think that the CDC and the FDA, and once Trump is out of office, Congress need to receive demonstrations and detailed explanations on what this shit is so they can ask the right questions to prevent a future incident. That's how I feel. I feel like this is dangerous. I don't feel like we shouldn't be playing with God because that implies that we specifically know where God is and asked him, can we play? And he said yes or no, and we forced him. I feel like that's just a really, really cool thing to say in a movie, but it doesn't make a lot of sense in the context of the real life. You can't make artificial life. You're playing God. It's like, motherfucker, first off, who actually sat up here and said that pretending to be God was somehow a crime? It's all a matter of how we handle it and the ethics behind it. And right now, we're woefully unprepared. And every time new technology comes out and we're woefully unprepared for how it affects humankind, we suffer. I just dropped in the messenger chat, not even a full 20, 30 minutes ago, a video about talking about child psychology and how without trying, social media has increased their odds of suicide and self-harm and mental instability. Like dramatically, just going from my generation, which is the ass end of Generation X, depending on who you ask, to the earliest millennials, all the way to you, which I think you're either count as millennial or Generation Y. I don't know who decides these things, and then they're not consistent depending on where you go for the generation markers. But I am the ass end of the 80s. So I'm not a millennial. But the fact that just going from not even a full 6 years behind me, a lot of people in my same age group wake up wanting to die overnight with no issues wrong and no history of family illness or mental illness. There are only so many things that you can conclude, and science is trying to do that by studying the links between children and social media. You know, Facebook, MySpace, whoever you want to insert name of popularity here. Yeah, they started this shit. They made some mistakes, but this ain't even really their mistake. This is a social mistake because I don't think anyone would have ever predicted something like this could happen when we got cell phones. I know I don't say this a lot, Hill, but look, you need to consider yourself a very, very special exception, or you need to thank your family's genetics, because you wake up in the morning and don't have the immediate idea to cut yourself or kill yourself every fucking day. And unfortunately, that's becoming a rarity. You realize if I said people born literally the same day, the same year, the same fucking month as you, if I set down 10 of you, almost half of you will be mentally unstable on some level in some way, shape, or form, or suicidal. You realize that?
Yeah.
Dude, I wish there was something I could do for them, or at least I could spread whatever special herpes I got that makes me not think or have those issues, but I can't. All I can do is watch and try to get, you younger mugs to talk to the right people, because mom and dad aren't always the right people. Sometimes mom and dad don't even know shit. Best friend ain't always the right person either. They could get burned out, or they could be stressed out by talking to you because you unload so much shit on them. I'm not saying you shouldn't talk to those people. They're like the last line of defense. The first line of defense in mental health is mental health specialists. And the sooner people get the idea of stigmatizing mental health, and also the sooner people understand that a mental health specialist job isn't to try to cure you, it's try to help you maintain and manage your condition, which can lead to you being fixed or being able to control your symptoms to some level, the better off we're going to be. Because I see too many people that go and then they get mad that they didn't get some magical pill that fixed everything, or that talking to them didn't lead to them perfectly never having issues again. No one is telling you it works like that. And that's a stigma they've been trying to get rid of pretty much as long as I've been alive. I wish you mugs luck. I honestly do. I honestly do. But on a lighter note, topic 5. Yeah, I'm calling bullshit on that user interface, and I'm gonna tell you why. First and foremost, we all know Sony has snitches out the ass. And whether they realize it or not, I'm pretty sure that the snitches are in North America. They're North American employees in North American residencies. I can't tell you why I'm, for lack of a better term, absolutely sure the snitches for Sony related Sony Entertainment Group, or whatever you want to call them, is in relation to North America, but let's just say a birdie told me and then screenshotted me things. Now as far as topic 4, okay. They did not confirm or deny Red 13 being playable for the first game. However, did you notice when they were fighting Genova, which that fight doesn't actually happen in that game or the original game that early? Did you notice that Red 13 was on screen moving around? No, I'm asking you, Hill. Did you notice that?
I did not.
Now I bet you about to go watch that trailer again on fucking mute. But yeah, when they're fighting Genova and all the little tentacle monster shit coming out of the ground, Red 13 is on the right standing next to Aerith. But when you look at the screen, only 3 characters, names and HPs and stats are on the screen at once. So immediately after you get Red 13, I have a feeling that maybe Hojo tries to use Genova to kill you all or to test your power and strength. Because remember, as we learned, besides being the architect of almost every terrible thing that happens in Final Fantasy VII lore, Hojo is watching you the entire time that you're in one of the Shinra factories. And we know that Shinra themselves, they have camera and eyes on you sometimes when you're in the factory, depending on which Mako reactor you're in. So, all bullshit aside, I really do think that Red 13 is not going to be playable. Or if he is playable, it's literally for the elevator boss fight. Which, by the way, back in the day, that was one of the coolest fights in an RPG ever. You're fighting in an elevator, and your opponent's in an elevator that's chasing you. And he opens it up by breaking the glass. So he letting you know this AI robot is aware that, okay, I can't get on the same platform as you, but I'm going to fuck you up from a distance. And if you want to hit me, you got to come in close. Me, every time I think about Final Fantasy, or at least this version of Final Fantasy Part 1, that's the main boss fight that I want to see the most because of the backdrop for it. Imagine you're on a platform falling off the side of a skyscraper and all of the protection went away. What if there's a situation where you could be hanging off the side of this stage and someone has to pull you up or something? Like, that is so cool. Or what if there's a summon you can only do that has a special function specifically on that elevator platform fight? Or they could make it really, really suck and they could put it in an indoor elevator on the side of the building and it doesn't break the glass. Man, I'm going to be so mad. Or what if a summon breaks the glass? Let me stop. I could spend all day thinking about that fight. In fact, shit, that's happened before. But other than that, there was nothing else I could really glean. We did learn that Barrett does have some close combat attacks, which that kind of makes sense if you think about it. Because remember, you don't always have the gun arm in Final Fantasy. Some of the arms are physical weapons. And he would go up and get in close. So it's nice to see that you get to experience that before Final Fantasy Part 2. I am concerned, though, about Tifa. However, I'm never not going to be concerned about Tifa. So instead of me gushing and drooling over Tifa, whom I love so much and dearly, I'm going to just leave it there. That's all I could learn from it. I don't think Red 13's playable anymore. I would like him to be, but that shit alone led me to think he's not. However, hey, I don't mind being wrong. For all we know, the way the game is set up for the future, because remember, eventually all the characters are going to be in one party. It could be 3 or 4 primary characters, and then everybody else is set as an assist, which is really, really cool. And it's not the first time something like that has been done. People feel how they feel about the Tales of games, but Tales of Exilia 1 and 2 specifically had a unison control mechanic, which I really wish they hadn't dropped, where 2 characters can link up and attack enemies and be controlled at the same time. Your movement was a little bit unusual, but characters could fight on the other side of the enemy or fight from the same angle, which could eventually lead to special team up attacks. And I fucking love it. I genuinely love it. At the ass end of the PS3 era, that was like the primary reason I would turn on my system, to have fun playing that shit. Because even though it's pretty common for people to do co-op and team up in action games, it's rare for a RPG to let two people control four or one person control two simultaneously at all times. I feel like trying to see if there was a PlayStation 4 re-release just thinking about it, man. And the Tales of games almost never have re-releases. They'll do a remake of the original, but they'll almost never have re-releases. Kind of dumb. Because at this point, with the 50 gigabytes of the PlayStation 4 disc, fucking, they could have like 4 or 5 Tales of games all on one disc. Of course, they'll add a bunch of DLC bullshit to it again and try to monetize the fuck out of it, but Namco Bandai giveth, Namco Bandai taketh away. Moving on to our final topic, the Game Developers Conference. Okay. I think the reasoning behind why so many entities want to work on the PlayStation 5 isn't because they think that it's better than the Xbox or because of their personal in-house developer preference. I think it's something more simple than that. I literally think it's just because the PlayStation 5 is going to come out first. Their dev kits came out first. And I think that even though they haven't finalized the commercially available unit, the main reason they haven't released their release date, no pun intended, is just because they think that they can force Microsoft's hand into talking about theirs first so they can see and gauge if they want to put theirs out ahead of time. This isn't the first time this has happened. A lot of people don't remember it. Hill, you were way too young to even care or know about it, but did you know that the PlayStation 3 and the Xbox 360 was made by the same company?
Did not.
Yeah, blowing you fucking mind. IBM did it. IBM made the architecture for both the PS3 and the 360 at the same time, but it was an unusual situation. Sony got there first. However, Microsoft showed up, and even though they didn't have to take the contract, IBM chose to do it. But when Sony found this out, they wanted their version to be commercially ready and available before 360's version and iteration was done, to come up with their architecture, if I'm using the correct term. So that's why the PS3 came out first, and it was a total fucking disaster. But they got the lead. This is different. I think they can catch lightning in a bottle for a second time if they release their shit first. So I think that's why. Because if you're using the PlayStation 5 to develop a next generation title, you're automatically further along than the Xbone. There are titles already being made for it, but hey, most of those are in-house. As in they're being made specifically by Microsoft. That being said, we're out of topics, but there is something I want to bring up just because I'm curious on your opinion on it. No, it's not the psychology thing, although, we could definitely just alone make a video about that. I am curious how you feel about Warner Brothers live action movies, because I don't know if you noticed or not, but even though it was rarely advertised, their new Birds of Prey movie came out and pulled a Suicide Squad and is bombing horribly. So I am curious what your thoughts are on how Sony could how Warner Brothers needs to proceed with their inability to maintain quality with their live action movies, and what do you think they can do to fix that shit? But before we do that, we had two people who unfortunately couldn't make it today, and I'm going to go and I'm going to read their answers for the topics. The first person is a good friend of the show by the name of Officer 9001, or Matt 9001. And the other one is Corey Troy VA. I'm going to do Matt's first, though. For topic 1, Matt responded with, it's somewhat false advertising, but for most, it isn't even enough of an example to make people take companies to court. Yet. Uh-oh. The consumers are still getting the game after all. If they get too much further with it, though, like say you get these games for free, but only if you get some kind of subscription, and someone rich or pissed off enough has to deal with it, then we'll probably see lawsuits happen. As far as topic 2 goes, he personally thinks that anything we create should be given the same regulation or rights as similar things we may already have precedent for. Also, the same ethical standards most reasonable and minded scientists should be applied to these experiments as we move forward. Though for any unprecedented situations where new things come up, well, you got to address them in a case-by-case basis, which still scares me because what if they make a virus and then we don't know about it till later? Assuming, for topic 3, assuming it's true they're changing basically nothing from the PlayStation 4, I don't really think this leak is true, but I'm pretty sure the real user interface won't be too different. I want it to be different. Holy shit, he went a hand for topic 4. For topic 4, his thoughts in order as they come to him watching the trailer are, they seem to be making Reeve noticeably more obvious in this whole corporate leader who actually gives a damn about people, which he appreciates. Scarlet, the female Turk from the original game, using one of her underlings as a legit rest is not female Turk. Scarlet, one of their heads of, I think, public relations in the company, using someone as a footrest feels like a good addition to her character. Let's see. It looks like they simultaneously made the Honeybee Inn both less and more debaucherous in different ways, which, it's fucking hilarious to me. A blonde-haired mullet dude on a motorcycle looks like more than just some random Shinra grunt. I don't mind new characters. It's like, he's not new. His name is Roche, which is a weird, which they should have just said Roche. That it's a little feminine, but it sounds better than Roach, because all I hear is Roach, like he's an insect or a fucking bug. We're not sure if the Sephiroth is showing up in person in the game is before or after the party is captured. But it looks like at least Cloud isn't the only one seeing him, and it's not some type of hallucination, or it's not just limited to hallucination. Now we need a little bit of context. Yeah, I'm skipping the last parts. Topic 5. He thinks it's too early to determine which system will get most next-gen games. Just because they get their dev kit out early doesn't necessarily mean that they'll be at an advantage. Okay, that's a good one. Now for Corey, he really streamlined his shit. For topic 1, he doesn't know if it's on the box, but you are getting what you pay for. If it includes everything, then yeah, the problem comes in with used copies of the game if it's included on the disc. I don't think there's an issue, but if it's a code, then yeah, there's a bit of an issue. I guess it should be said that before purchase of a used copy, that DLC might have already been claimed. See, he's leaning in my direction. I like that. He doesn't have an answer for topic 2. Yeah, that sounds like him. Topic 3. It's possible that could be. Okay, there should be something right there. It's possible that the user interface for the PlayStation 5 that leaked could be real, but the angle of the shot makes it seem like one of those fakes. It looks similar to the PS4 interface, which worked just fine, and this is what we get, then I'm fine with it, I suppose. You see, I still want more dramatic user interface, or not an overhaul, just, more dynamic, I guess. Topic 4, it seems to be mixing things up a little, which isn't a bad thing to me. Providing something new can be exciting, like the shadow-looking things that surround Cloud and Aerith. We don't know what that enemy is called, but it seems to be some type of bad guy that's exclusive to the new story. And the Shimmer Court building in the new trailer, looking forward to what new story content they add. Okay, pretty simple. Now for topic 5, it might be that the PlayStation 5 will have the bigger consumer base at launch, so they think putting their games on the console will perform better financially. However, that's just a theory. tempted to say it. So tempted to say it, but I won't. All right, so that's Corey and Matt for you. But yeah, back to the question here. What do you think Warner Brothers needs to try to do to at least get close to their excuse me sorry, to at least get close to having reliable statistical data on their movie's quality? Because look, it's easy to tell when it feels like a little kid and their family went to go see this movie and he didn't have a concept of taste developed yet, and the parents just went because, well, fuck, my kid likes it and I think this is garbage. But hey, it kills time. Because that's one of the biggest things that I think inherently plays out different from a movie in relation to Marvel and DC. When people see Avengers, they want to see Avengers, whether it's with or without their kid. You're going to see it because you know you're going to like it and be entertained. And you're liking the story. When you see a DC movie, you don't know what the fuck's going to happen. But yeah, what do you think they need to do to try to, maintain some level of consistent quality?
Try for working a different dynamic than, hey, this is the popular character, and let's make the movie with like surface level points about them. Cause I don't know, because when I watched Suicide Squad, it was just like, it was good, but then they wanted to try to really pull in the whole Harley Quinn and Joker crowd, and then they tried to make this movie about the singular fucking Harley Quinn crowd. It's like, yeah, fucking Joker's terrible, and they tried to pull that, and then it's flopped in its entirety. You're not even seen it yet, but from everybody's fucking descriptions of just how Joker was and how Birds of Prey was, it's like two different dynamics of what happens when society ruins you, and then just, hey, look, there's a girl in a movie. They actually understand what kind of crowd they're trying to pull and how to make a movie based off around that, instead of trying to throw like, here, we have your character, they're doing the thing, ha ha, funny clap, give us money.
Damn. I mean, I pretty much agree, but the thing that really gets me is I think, and I've mentioned this, and I've never given it a direct name, but I've mentioned on and off that one of the biggest things that can ever go wrong with entertainment is when the person making the entertainment doesn't understand their fan base or only cares about money, because then they can ruin their own fucking fan base. Like, people that read comics, if you talk to them, a lot of them, they feel they understand, and that live action world is different, completely different from the comic books. They don't complain about that. They understand it, and they've had decades to deal with the shit. Not even decades. They've had damn near half a century to deal with the shit. Shit, how old is that old Batman show? Fuck. But here we are at a point where there doesn't have to be a division. They can go and get, like Marvel, the writers who write the books, who also help work out for the characterization and the scripts for the characters in the movies. And they can talk with the directors, and the directors themselves can read the books and be fans. They can do that. They can fucking do that. And it'll increase the quality, because what you've done is you created a team of people who care about the craft, not care about, will this product make profit? Because you can get both. That's what they don't get. People who like Iron Man, they'll tell you in a heartbeat, Iron Man 3 was garbage. Little kids might like it, but Iron Man 3 is garbage. But that doesn't suck so bad that it makes them stop seeing every other movie Iron Man is in. So the biggest weakness they have is that, and I've said it numerous ways, there are too many chefs and not enough cooks. I know what that's supposed to be like, but I feel like that old version is kind of sort of borderline racist. But the whole point is that, much like with Iron Man 3, when corporate people don't give a shit about anything about trying to make themselves money, and they have a product whose job it is to entertain people, not necessarily sell merchandise, they want it to lead to selling merchandise, but really it needs to be a good product or entertain people to get merchandise sales. Fucking, you're going to run into this issue every time. The only reason Suicide Squad 2 is going to be good is because James Gunn has a quality standard. And he even said he's never going to work on Suicide Squad again. One of the most famous things he did when they first announced the whole cast of that movie was he put a hashtag is never happening again or not going to happen again. Something like that. So, realistically speaking, it's not that they can't find people. It's just for some dumbass reason they won't use them. Wonder Woman, I will admit, was better than most of their shit. But to be fair, the bar was set very, very low. Zack Snyder shouldn't have even been involved in the project. They like to tout that, oh, it was directed by a woman. Like, that means any fucking thing. And I hate that that's becoming a franchise or a marketing plug in and of itself for promotion. Look, I'm going to tell you right now, and I don't care how people feel about this. I've said it before and I'll say it till I'm dead. I don't care who makes a product. I care if it's a good product. If a female director can make a good action movie, let her. But putting a female director on a movie because she doesn't have a penis, this is the dumbest shit ever to me. I want female directors to direct good movies. I don't care if the star is male or female of the movie. I just want people who can do good at their job to be in situations where they can prove they can do good at their job. But with Birds of Prey, the casting, the direction, just from me looking at the trailer and reading the reviews, there were 5 things that they needed to do that could possibly get me to purchase this, and they didn't do 3 of them. So they're not going to get my money. Now, I don't have a bias towards Birds of Prey. I literally didn't know that the movie didn't get canceled because I thought it was canceled. I remember the Joker movie got canceled, so I thought that Birds of Prey was canceled. Never seen a fucking trailer for Birds of Prey. And the first thing I found out when I actually looked at what people were saying is everyone they casted has no background in action. All of the women, now, I don't know if this counts as sexist, but there's something I've noticed, a Hollywood trend. Every time they cast women to do action roles, with very small exceptions, they cast women that physically are weaker than the people they're supposed to be assaulting, and they don't have superpowers. Hey, it worked with Charlie's Angel, but Charlie's Angel was a long time ago. Generic cliche formulas can only get you so far. There's nothing wrong with hiring a woman who can do some pull-ups. Look at Gina Cardona. I think that's how you say her last name. That old MMA fighter. She's on the Mandalorian Star Wars show, which people can't get enough of. She's still swole. And she hasn't fought in like 5 years. Or she retired from fighting. She is still swole in the arms. That's not a body cast. That's not a muscle suit like they do with Samuel Jackson. That's just power. And they keep casting these people who don't have any experience, so it's harder to sell it to me as a person. And that's not a female thing. That's a male or a female. If you keep casting people to do fights that can't fight, it feels weird to me. Don Cheadle gets a pass, even though that man is barely 120 pounds soaking wet, because he's a serious actor, so I'm not expecting him to magically turn into a fucking, martial artist overnight. But also, they stuck him in War Machine. War Machine flies in the air and shoots stuff, but somehow it's become less interesting and more boring than when Iron Man does it. They need to find a balance. having an action director or action editor do a fight sequence in a movie is not the same as having a director that understands or has even been in a fight. I don't know her name, but to my knowledge, the person directing Birds of Prey is a female Asian woman who doesn't have a background in this stuff. But, I don't want to spread misinformation about it, so let me check real quick. Hey, Google, who is the director of Birds of Prey movie?
Birds of Prey was directed by Kathy Yan. According to Wikipedia, Kathy Yan is a Chinese-American film director, screenwriter, and producer.
Her films include the comedy drama Dead Pigs and Birds of Prey and the 8th installment of the DC Extended Universe. What the fuck is that? What is the 8th installment? She's only directed comedies until now. Holy shit. I swear, it's like they don't know it's like they don't know how to pull talent. Or maybe they think because Taika Waititi had a comedy background and he pulled off Thor Ragnarok that, I don't know. Fuck, man. Look, I don't want to hate Warner Brothers. I technically don't. Their cartoon movies, 90% of them do well. Like, they genuinely do well, and they have a bigger audience. But this shit, fucking killing me. Anyways, all right, Hill, you got anything you want to tell our nice audience of 0.2 people about or things to look into?
Just, the future's going bright because we got Doom and Animal Crossing coming out. And enjoy your open beta for this weekend of TSO2 in English.
Well, on my end, I kind of want to do a video at some point in time dedicated to just talking about either philosophy, which I'm probably the only person on SoundCloud who cares about it. That's more of a Spotify thing. Or talking about franchises as a whole, like Resident Evil and where it's been, where it's going, shit like that. Like to get a few more people involved in that one, but it is what it is. All right, with that being said, this has been another exciting episode of Token Games Podcast. I will see you guys when I see you guys.